So, as I said in my previous video, I've been kind of getting back into Yu-Gi-Oh! A little bit, and one of the things I've always thought about when it came to Yu-Gi-Oh! Especially with the different incarnations of series that we've been getting since 2000, if you will, is the fact that we've never had a true lead female protagonist. Now, I know some people might say, well, have you seen, V-Reigns, or have you seen Arc 5, if you will, or even to an extent Sevens, if you will, or even potentially the upcoming Go Rush. And I'll be honest, I have not really seen them at all, because of course I've been working a lot in the past, so I haven't had a time to sit down and anything and really check them out. But from what I understand, they're kind of like a mixed bag. I mean, I know there are people that like them because, just like with the original Yu-Gi-Oh! And to an extent GX, and even to an extent, 5Ds, they got better as time went on. And you could see that. You could definitely see that they got better as time went on. The storylines got darker, the twists and turns came out of nowhere, like things you wouldn't expect to happen, would happen, if you will, stuff like that. Characters would get more development that you thought wouldn't get development, or wouldn't get any more further development than what they already had. So, the thing is, I can understand that a lot of people like it for that fact that like these other series that I have yet to see, like Arc 5, Zexal, V-Reigns and Sevens and all that. I can understand people like it for those reasonings, because like I said, like the original trilogy, as people call them, basically they they got better as time went on, and they got better from a fact that the stories were getting more mature and darker and unpredictable, if you will. And I know some people will point out with Arc 5 that we did somewhat have a female protagonist, because the complication of of that scenario is we have a main character, if not two main characters, that got split into different variations of who they are across different dimensions. And from what I understand, the male protagonist basically is in a situation to where he's the protagonist, but he starts to evolve and become the antagonist, but not by his own will. And it takes his female counterpart, his sister, if you will, to get through to him. So I could see what people would say that Arc 5 kind of filled that void. And I'm not disagreeing with that. But what I'm trying to point out here is, with that kind of being the exception, because you still had a main male protagonist in which, like I said, the said storyline really focused around, most of the time, and the sister was brought in as basically like that, Deus Ex Machina, if you will, that kind of like that, that DLC kind of character that comes in to strengthen the character. You get the idea of what I'm saying. Basically, the sister being there was kind of like an added bonus. Like, she was added to kind of create that diversity that was needed. And I totally, get that, and I'm totally for that. But what I'm trying to say is, when I look at female leads in a Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, and I mean true female leads, I'm talking from beginning to end, they are the main character. They are the one that is basically in the role of Yugimoto, they're in the role of a Jaden, they're in the role of a Yusei, they're in the role of the main protagonist in Zexal, main protagonist in Arc 5, the main male one, that is, no offense to the sister. The main male protagonist in V-Reigns and so on. I basically see a lack. What I'm trying to say is, I've seen a lack of the fact that we've not had a true female protagonist in that lead role, basically. And I feel the time is now for that to happen. I get the fact that we got Go Rush, coming up, and somewhat of the lead roles are being, shared by two twin siblings, and one of them is female. I get that. Just like with Arc 5 and what they did with the sister-brother dynamic there. I get that. But to me, as I said, when I look at a true female lead, I'm not looking at a character, that, shares the spotlight with somebody else because of storyline reasons. I'm talking about someone that is the main focus, is the main character through and through, that every storyline, basically evolves around, some kind of connection they've had with, the ancient past, or some kind of mystical past that they've had in another dimension, or some kind of connection to another world in an alternate reality, stuff like that. That's the kind of character I'm talking about. And we have yet, in my honest opinion, we have yet to see a character like that. To me, I think the closest we ever got was the character I've mentioned previously in the last video, as a response to Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything's video that he did on it, about, Aki, or Akusa, if you will, in 5Ds. I think she, in my opinion, is probably the closest we'd ever gotten. Same with, to an extent, My Valentine, and Alexis, My Valentine, in the original series, as well as Alexis Rhodes in GX. I think those three are the closest we've ever gotten. But they've always played, like, supporting characters. They were always part of the supporting cast. Sometimes, they would play the love interest to a certain character, like Mai would be a love interest for Joey. Alexis Rhodes, I think, was a love interest for Jaden, maybe. I'm not really sure. And then, of course, Akusa was the love interest of Yusei. So they usually, in that role. They're in that supporting role where they end up being like that. But never in the role where, like I said, they are the true flat out, protagonists. They are the Yugi. They are basically in the role of a Yugi Pharaoh-like character. They are in the role of a Jaden Yubel-like character. They're in the role of a Yusei, if you will, where, like I said, everything, storyline wise, main plot wise, and everything, centers around them. Like, they have a connection to every single, story arc in that season, or in that story, in that story arc period. They have a connection, and like I said, we've never seen that. We've never really truly seen that, whatsoever in any Yu-Gi-Oh series. I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I heard about V-Reigns coming, and I saw the character design for the main protagonist, I thought to myself, oh my god, we're finally getting a female protagonist. Not the case. Turned out to be male. When I saw the same with Arc 5, I'm thinking, oh cool, female protagonist. Not really. Again, we did get somewhat of a main female protagonist, but it was because she was like a secondary main protagonist that connected to our main protagonist. Basically, she was the key to keep him in check, if you catch my drift. Honestly, if you want more information on that, check out TGS Anime, and if this channel's still around, Yu-Gi-Oh! Everything, to find out more about Arc 5 and exactly what I'm trying to say there, or try to point out to you there. But again, we've never had a true female protagonist. We've never had one. We've never had a true female protagonist, in any shape or form. We've never had one. And to me, I think the opportunity is right now. I think the opportunity presents itself, as we speak, as the best, chance that the Yu-Gi-Oh! Franchise has to step out, of its comfort zone and do something that no one would expect them to do. I mean, Pokemon, to an extent, kind of, tested it out, and it had somewhat success, even through the animes and mangas, I think. I think Digimon has done the same thing, you know. I mean, one of the things that made Digimon so popular is every character, every male and female character had an arc. They were focused on at times. True, Tai was the main character, and then of course, what's his name afterwards in the follow-up seasons and all that. But still, every character, when the opportunity presented itself, had had a chance to shine and prove that they could be a main character, be the main focus. Even though it would still focus on characters like Tai and I think that Danny character, or whatever his name was, in the follow-up series. The thing that I'm getting at is, I know Konami, I know the people behind the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise. They they have the way of presenting characters and how they're utilized and stuff. I understand that, but I think honestly, more than ever, the time is perfect. The time, presents itself, it just presents itself in an opportune way that cannot be passed up. It cannot be passed up. I mean, we are now in a world, guys. We now exist in a world to where, if the female character, if you don't have a female character at equal status to a male character in some kind of media, there's always going to be some kind of call for for some kind of cancellation on them, or some kind of representation, asked, or demanded of it to be done. And to me, if I'm the people behind Yu-Gi-Oh, the anime, the manga, and all that, if I'm behind them, if I'm the people behind it, then I definitely reconsider my options. I don't know how long Go Rush is going to be, with its potential storyline and everything, and the main protagonist being an alien soldier from another world or something like that. I don't know how long that's going to go, but I can say this honestly, that if they are planning to do another Yu-Gi-Oh series, which seems to be the theme with a lot of these series based on card games card games, what's the word I'm looking for, pocket monster games, whatever. If they're going to continue doing, if they're going to do another one, like Pokemon continues to do new series, basically chug them out year after year, or yearly, year after year, by year, whatever. And same with Digimon and all them. If Yu-Gi-Oh plans to do the same thing, Konami, who I think still owns the rights to them, Shonen Jump, I should say, Shonen Jump and Konami, if they plan to do more Yu-Gi-Oh mangas and new Yu-Gi-Oh animes based on those mangas, then I think they really need to look at what they've done in the past and realize and think for a moment, hey, we've never had a true female protagonist as our lead. And I guarantee you, they give us a true female protagonist as the lead, basically in the role of a Yugi, basically in the role of a Jaden, basically in the role of a Yusei. Then I'll tell you what, they bring that Yu-Gi-Oh anime here, that Yu-Gi-Oh manga here to the States, and the manga will sell like hotcakes. There is no doubt about that. The card game based on that anime and manga will sell like crazy, and the anime will be received, more so than any Yu-Gi-Oh anime has in a long time, because of the fact that you've changed things up. You've changed things up to a point that you're showing that you're willing to go outside your comfort zone. You're willing to show that you're willing to show that you can be different, that you can be diversive, and that you could show that the female characters, the women in your animes, are just as capable and strong as your lead male characters. And to me, the timing couldn't be any better. The timing couldn't be any better. Like I said, I don't know how long Go Rush is going to be. That's the honest truth. I don't know how long Go Rush is going to be, but I can tell you this right now. I'll tell you this right now. When it's all said and done, if they're not already thinking about the next Yu-Gi-Oh anime and manga, you know how it's going to be, how it's going to, what's the word I'm looking for? How it's going to connect with, previous Yu-Gi-Ohs like this one, or how it's going to be its own separate individual manga and series, anime series that is. If they're still coming up with ideas of what, how it's going to, be, like what characters are going to be involved, what the storyline and everything's going to be, what the world's going to be, then I think the opportunity for them to really, step out of that comfort zone is now. Because you can't tell me they aren't thinking about the next, you can't tell me they're not thinking about okay, what could be the next Yu-Gi-Oh series, while they're working on Go Rush, because they are. And I guarantee you someone, if not many, behind the scenes there in Japan, if not the American partners here in the US, are going back and forth and saying, hey, why not put a female in the lead? Why not give us a true female lead protagonist and go from there? Because I think, honestly, if they do that, like I said, the manga based around it will sell like hotcakes. The card game based around it will sell like crazy, and the anime will be received, very strongly and very strongly and embracingly, not just in Japan but here in the US and other parts of the world, because of the fact that you've changed up your game. You've decided to step out of your comfort zone and show that, hey, you're willing to give, the opposite sex, if you will, the female, the opposite sex, the women, the female gender of your franchise, a chance to shine in the spotlight. A chance for them to be the Yugi Moto, to be the Jaden, to be the Yusei of your series. To have the story, to have any story arc that they're involved in center around them, and the connection to whatever, to whatever mythical or, outer space sci-fi or, historical, past or connection or worlds or whatever, you want them to have a connection to. To me, the timing couldn't be better. So, to me, and I know I sound like I repeated myself, guys. I'm kind of watching the security camera right now. My mom's awake, but she's watching her Golden Girls, so I'm trying to do it as best I can. So I do apologize for the distraction. But again, that's causing me to ramble. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get at is the timing couldn't be better for them to attempt this. The timing couldn't be better. Here's the thing. There's been a lot of properties in the past that have given equal opportunity to a female character to be in the spotlight, to show that they're just as good, if not better than the male characters that they work alongside with, or they're showcased alongside with, or they perceive, or they've come after. We have seen it many, many times. And to me, when I look at something like Yu-Gi-Oh, I just have not really seen it that much, if at all. Again, people will say that we kind of got it with Arc 5, and that's true. And again, I will try to link you to TGS Anime and Yu-Gi-Oh everything, so you guys can get a full, a full index of what Arc 5 is, better than what I can tell you. But I can hear people saying that they kind of did that to an extent already with Arc 5. But like I said, you look at the closest, in my opinion, that we've gotten. From the original, we had My Valentine being, in my opinion, the closest you could have done with someone to be in that role. And taking nothing away from Taya Gardner, okay? But I think, honestly, if you wanted to put someone in a role of a female spin-off of the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, yeah, Taya's a great choice, but Mai would be more intriguing, more investing, to get more of an investment to get into, if you know what I mean. And the same with Alexis Rhodes in GX. You know, I think if they wanted to do a spin-off with focusing on Alexis Rhodes, it would work. People would get behind it. You know, the same with Akusa, you know, if you will, Aki, or whatever her name is. Akusa, basically, the former Black Rose Witch. The one, as I mentioned, in a reply to Yu-Gi-Oh's Everything's a video he did on Valentine's Day about the romance between her and Yusei. I think if you had done a spin-off, I think if they wanted to do a 5D spin-off on that, on her, focusing on her, it would work. People would appreciate it. But again, those female characters from those series were the closest I think we would get to having any kind of an idea of what a true female lead character in the role of a Yugimoto, you know, a Jaden and a Yusei would be like. You know, those three characters individually and combined, you know, gave us probably the best example of, as I said, a character, you know, being in the lead, having the spotlight on them, and having all the story arcs, you know, center around them and connect to them in some way. A, because of their connection to some kind of ancient past, ancient mythical past, or some kind of, you know, magical past, or sci-fi alternate dimensional past, or whatever. And, you know, this is 2022. It doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if Yu-Gi-Oh is an American creation, or a Japanese creation, or a European creation. You know, we need to look at the fact that something like Yu-Gi-Oh has the best opportunity to step outside the box and show that the female characters, a female character can be the true lead, can be the main protagonist, can be that lead character that, as I said, Yugi, Jaden, and Yusei were focused as in their shows. And I think it would work. And again, like I said, you can't tell me right now that as I speak, you know, as they're getting ready to release Go Rush, you can't tell me they're not working on the next idea, or working on ideas for the next Yu-Gi-Oh manga and anime series and game. Card game series, or evolution of it. You know, you can't tell me they're not thinking about that right now, because they are. And I guarantee you that someone on both sides of the spectrum, the Japan side and the American side, are going back and forth, and someone on both sides is telling them or suggesting very strongly, hey, let's test the waters out with a female lead. Because like I said, they do that. They make that happen. The manga will be well received. The card game would be well received, and the anime would be very well received because of how different it is. You know, and the difference being that, you know, everybody would expect a male character to be the lead, but instead they would find out, oh my god, it's a female character, not a male character. So to me, I think the opportunity is now. I think the opportunity to do something like that is now. But what do you guys think? Do you think the time is now to, you know, for, you know, Shonen Jump and Konami, if you will, Bandai, whoever it is behind them, mostly Shonen Jump, do you think the time is now for them to step out of that comfort zone and say, hey, let's give a female character the lead in a Yu-Gi-Oh series? What are your thoughts? Do you think it would work? I think it would. Like I said, I think the anime, the manga, and the card game based around it would do extremely well. Probably so well that, you know, I could hear people saying that they've not seen a popularity for Yu-Gi-Oh this big since the original. That's not a guarantee or a promise, but that's something I could see happening. But what are you guys' thoughts? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. Like the video. Check me out at BW Rose's Discussions and all your favorite audio podcast locations except for Pandora. I am close to 300 podcasts, guys. Also, if you're listening to the podcast on Anchor.fm, listener support is activated. And if you're listening to the podcast on various locations like Spotify and Amazon, and both of them have video podcasting enabled along with audio, then you can have your choice between both there. As well as check me out at patreon.com/bwroses to support me with a $1, $3 tier. Still considering doing a $5 one, so be on the lookout for that if I make that announcement, but don't hold me to it. Also check me out at VENMO at bwroses and at VENMO at Brian-Walmer-2 to help support me there as well. But again, what are your thoughts? Let me know down below. you know, like I said, in the comments as well, in the live chat during the premiere, because guys, I think the time is now. I think the time, you know, couldn't be better for them to go this route, to step out of that comfort zone. But what are your thoughts? And I do apologize for rambling a little bit. Like I said, I'm kind of keeping an eye on things, if you know what I mean. And you know, because I don't get, you know, I tried to do this video earlier, but my mom came home from church, so it made it a little awkward. But again, yeah, let me know what your thoughts are down below in the live chat during the premiere, and I am out.